watching Numbskull News, and today we're going to talk about some Florida State news that came out. We're going to talk about some ESPN news that came out, and even a little bit of Clemson news that came out. And to see if I can't prognosticate on some of this crap. First of all, Florida State. And this comes by way of Greg Flugar, Peek Around the Corner. If you don't know that channel, look up Peek Around the Corner. Check it out. He does a great job. He's got some inside sources in some places. I, of course, don't. I just talk massive amounts of crap all the time. I don't really, no one's talking to me about anything. But apparently Florida State has another problem. They want to know where this lawsuit came from the ACC, who signed off on it, which is very interesting because, can Commissioner Phillips just bring legal action against a member of a conference that he works for? That's strange. He can sue one of his bosses without the other bosses knowing about it. That's, they got a great and interesting point there. And what it looks like to me is they're angling to get the ACC's lawsuit canceled out. And of course, if that happens, then, FSU is definitely in the driver's seat. And another thing that was touched upon by Mr. Flugar. Now this, I don't think anyone else has this or talks about it. I think only Greg does, which is another reason to, go and subscribe to his channel and check it out. But apparently Clemson isn't going to be that far behind in their own lawsuit, their own legal action against the ACC. So you have the ACC that's going to be fighting multiple battles on multiple fronts. That's what it's looking like. However, there's no news on North Carolina, getting a lawsuit together, or Virginia. Because, they're the two biggest ads, right? The most desirable programs for the Big Ten and the SEC, but no movement there, nothing, no rumors, no innuendo, nothing. Thought I'd throw that out there. I still think ESPN, they have that huge card to play. The opt out in 2027. So my guess is they're going to identify what they want out of the ACC as far as what they want to go into the SEC. And then they'll use that card to their advantage to get what they want. That's what I'm guessing. And speaking of ESPN, apparently they are the lead dog in getting those CFP rights from 2026 on. I think it's a 6-year extension. That's what's being reported. That's what's being leaked out by multiple sources to big-time media people. I'm still going to hold off. I'm not trying to make a whole video just on that. But it's interesting. It's 1.3 billion, which still seems a little light from what people have speculated on. A lot of people thought, 1.5, anywhere up to 2 billion. So doesn't appear right now to be quite that, which to me is not shocking. I don't think any sports entity is trying to massively overpay for anything. And that's going to be for years to come. There's a lot of change that's going to be happening in the sports landscape as far as how you view the product. Streaming is going to come into the picture more and more as we go along. And that linear model, it's on a little bit of life support. And that life support is live sports. But, that's not, there's some numbers out there that indicate there's a coming decline, I guess you could say, of live sports. So people really going whole hog on that. There's some questions to be asked. I was going to make a video on it, but like I said, I think I'll wait until a deal is actually done and we know everything's solidified. We know the information on it, the inside outs of everything before I actually go full in on a video about that. But I thought that was interesting. Um, and there's a lot of people that are upset. They don't want ESPN to control it all, but ESPN wants to control it all. There was also a lot of talk about Fox having this huge war chest, and that's what they were targeting is the CFP. And that doesn't appear to be the case. I'm not saying they're not going to be involved. They'll probably sub-license some games from ESPN. Just like Fox owns the rights to the Big Ten and they sub-license the NBC and CBS and Peacock. I think the same kind of thing is at play. When we heard, the committee, the CFP committee, the people who control that playoff, that postseason, people that control it, they really wanted multiple media partners in on it. Well, they're going to get multiple media partners. It's just going to go through ESPN. And I know someone and that's one of the things, I may not completely agree with Greg Flugar on everything. I think most things I do. I think he's a pretty trustworthy guy and he means well. And I think he does a better job than most of your big media sources do. But, he thinks it's bad, with just ESPN. But like I said, I think there's going to be some sub-licensing going on. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I think ESPN wants to control it. I would say if that ends up being the case, that's another that's another point, I guess you can say. Not really. I'm trying to think of a good adjective here or a good whatever. It's another feather in the cap, if you will, to the SEC getting Florida State, getting Clemson, is their media partner controls the CFP. That's kind of what in some ways, screwed Florida State this year as far as getting into the playoff. And so, if you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing. That's somewhere around what I'm thinking about. And of course, this was news that came out a couple weeks ago. I think it's been a couple weeks. Anyway. The Pac-2, of course, they have won their lawsuit, and so of course you had people saying, well, maybe they can, use that to get into the ACC. Well, not so fast. The ACC looks like it's rather doomed, and maybe the Big 12, and I don't think that's happening, people. I think that the reason why there's been no movement on UConn or Gonzaga or any of that is everything got put on hold. I think especially when Florida State and Clemson last year came out and expressed how unhappy they were in the ACC, and everyone was like, "Whoa, there's going to be some movement here." And I think when the halls of college sports started shaking a little bit over that, I think any kind of expansion ideas, especially basketball only in the Big 12, all that got put on hold until they know what's going to go on with the ACC and what they can expect to get as far as the Big 12 goes. So I think they're going to, and I think everyone's right that has said this. They're kind of playing it exactly how they played it with the Pac. You hang back until it's appropriate to talk to some of these schools, and then you let them make their own decisions at that point. I think that's the best way to go with it. But Oregon State and Washington State, I think they're kind of screwed. I think what will end up happening, and this is nothing new, but what's going to end up happening is that they will eventually, a year or two down the road, they're going to fully merge with the Mountain West. The Mountain West will become the Pac. It won't be the Pac 10, 12, 16, whatever. It'll just be called the Pac, the Pacific Athletic Conference. And they'll just leave it at that. All you have to do is erase the 12 out of there and just have the Pac. And I think that'll be the future. And the newest of the G5s, which will then be a G6. I think that'll happen. And as far as the ACC, you could see really clear that whoever's left in the ACC, it's going to be the same thing. There won't be a media rights deal. You might look at a merger with the American. That's a very distinct possibility one day, because I mean, who's going to be holding the bag there? Syracuse, Boston College, Wake Forest. Maybe one or two other teams. I don't know. But yeah, whoever's left, they're going to have to go through the same kind of thing Oregon State and Washington State did. And yeah, we could poo-poo it and say it sucks. Look, I wouldn't mind Oregon State and Washington State in the Big 12. I think they add. I think they have value. I think they fit in. I think they're a cultural fit. I think everything works. I'm not crazy about Scholes, the president for Washington State, but I think the team is usually pretty good. The program is good. I think they get really good ratings, like surprisingly good ratings. Oregon State is just, a really solid program. But they lost their coach. Transfers leaving there out the ass, because everyone knows it's not going to be great. Like I said, those ACC schools, they're going to have the same thing happen to them, and that's the real consolidation. Because as we found out with SMU, the higher ups aren't too crazy about them getting a full share out of the CFP, especially with the new 12-team playoff and the money that's going to bring. I don't think they're too excited about that, and it seems, although we don't know, but from what's been reported, take that with what you will. And I thought we were going to hear some news on Monday. There was a meeting, and not a whole lot came out of that. No decisions were made, and it was built up quite a bit by the mainstream media that this is going to be some big shit, and it was a little shit. It wasn't even a shit. It was more like a fart. Nothing happened. So that's what I'm talking about. It's hard to trust the big outlets on stuff, but I'm not saying everything they do is crap, worthless crap. All right, I'm not saying that, but there's just been too many times where we find out things that they didn't know. Like things out of that lawsuit, the Florida State lawsuit. There's things we found out about the grant of rights of the ACC that main publications, the big media, had no idea about, and they were trying to lecture us on this shit. That's what irritates me on a lot of that. But it seems like the war for the heart of the ACC with Florida State is going to get damn interesting. I think Clemson's going to jump in. That's what it sounds like. And like I said, it's only coming from one guy, but I happen to trust him on most things. Other than that, the Big 12's in a damn good spot. We're going to kick back, see what we get out of the ACC. We're going to keep cashing checks. You got basketball season that has arrived, and the Big 12, they're kicking ass like usual. So thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.